Welcome to Reset Today with Stephanie J. You've just tuned into the show that allows you to reset in any area of your life. So come on and join me. Hit that reset bell and get ready to start fresh. I pray that you are doing well on this day. Glad to have another opportunity to speak with you, and I'm currently playing an instrumental from my son's SoundCloud page entitled Sleeping In, and I felt it apropos because that's exactly what I ended up doing today. I needed some rest, much needed rest, waking up throughout the night and did a lot of driving over the weekend, and I just needed some time. I had to do exactly what I'm telling you to do on these episodes. Oh yes, the sister had to take a reset. And I'll be honest, I'm not feeling that great today. And there are a few reasons, and I will explain, momentarily. But I am going to title this episode Despair. I was thinking more like road trip to despair because it's kind of what I experienced on a drive. I'll put it that way. But let's see. Before I dive into anything, let me just tell you where my podcast can be picked up. And so, A Brand New Day can be heard on Anchor, Spreaker, Spotify, Apple, Google, Breaker, iHeartRadio, Radio Public, and Podcast Addict. And Reset Today can be heard on Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, and I believe I've covered a majority of them, trying to do it by memory because I do not see my postcard. But anyway, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining me. And just let me remind you again, as I said on a few episodes already, the point of reset is to set again or anew, to set, adjust, or fix in a new or different way. It also means to make a change to a routine, a behavior, or a habit. And we all need to do one or more above at any given time. So I'm just thankful to be alive and to be able to still have another chance and another opportunity to reset if that's something that I need to do. And I hope you feel the same. I guess I want to start by talking about a place that I ended up traveling to. It was not my destination, but it was on the way to my destination. I started off in DC. There was something that I, needed to do. And sometimes when I, travel to various areas, I will do like the scenic routes. I had my, Google Maps on for directions, and then sometimes I'll turn it off and veer off and just kind of see what's around. And so I was headed over to Maryland, and, I put the address in, and I'm driving, and I won't say exactly where, but I went pretty far into Maryland, and it was like as I got deeper and deeper, I just went deeper and deeper and deeper into the hood. And I mean, I felt like I was in a hood of all hoods. And it was it was daytime. I left out early, and so I wasn't alarmed or anything like that. Now, had I been driving in the night, I really would have been, but it was early. And so I was, taking notice of the scenery. It's an area that I've been to several times, in my life, but never this far, never this deep. And so I actually was kind of curious to see what was on the other side of the tracks. And I mean, literally, because there were tracks and, there were buses coming around, and it was like, I felt like I was in a movie, and I can't even think. There are a few that comes to mind, and it was showing like sort of like how things would be as the world is ending. And I'm telling you, this place was really, really, really bad. And the more I drove, I mean, it was just like desolation all around. I'm talking not just an abandoned house here and there. I'm talking whole entire abandoned blocks, homes boarded up, businesses burned down, graffiti. It was pitiful. And then the places where there were some houses, and there were still abandoned houses around. I could see a few people out, a few people on the block or the street. And, there were a few stores around, but then I started taking notice. I mean, I really was intently driving, slow, and just looking at the surroundings. And I noticed that almost on every block or every few blocks, there was like a Chinese store, like a Chinese restaurant. And then I noticed that there was some type of liquor store, wine and spirits, or, they weren't just the traditional like ABC or anything like that, but there were a lot of neighborhood liquor stores. And then I found something very interesting. There was like an abundance of cemeteries in this neighborhood. I kid you not. And I'm just looking. And so after about 5 or 10 minutes, I was there for about a good 40 minutes or more, just driving around, going to different areas. And I started to count them out as I would ride. And I said, okay, so there's a Chinese place. Okay. And there's a liquor store over there. Wow. There's a cemetery over there. And this went on, and it went on, and it went on. And after a while, I have to tell you, somehow, before I even realized it, my entire mood had shifted, and I felt hopeless. And I was just thinking, I was thanking God, and I was saying, God, you're so good. And I just thank you for all of the blessings in my life. And I said, these people, the people here, the people who are actually living in this, God, I just can't begin to fathom. But you love them as well. You love your people. God, I found myself just asking a lot of questions. I was like, God, what is going on? And as I continue to drive, I'm gonna say about 30 minutes or so, I crossed a road, and I kind of went in a different direction. Things seemed to look a little better. Things seemed to be a little more livelier, but still noticing the same stores, the Chinese, the There were a few other places, a few other types of restaurants, but then a cemetery here, and the building started to look a little bit better. Some of the houses started to look a little bit better. There were like people all around, and I'm talking about groups of people, and it wasn't even anything going on. I noticed a lottery line, and there were some people on a lottery line, but people were just hanging out all over the place in groups, men and women, some groups of men, and it was just like a normal day. It was just like, I guess, they're like, this is life. This is our way of life. And it seemed totally normal to them, but it felt totally abnormal to me, if you can understand what I'm saying. I had to look up the word despair, not because I did not know the definition or what it means. I just like to consult the dictionary sometimes and, get a broader definition or a sense of the word. But when I looked it up, it totally expressed what I felt, and honestly, what I've been feeling for the past few days since I've had this experience. And the dictionary says that it is the complete loss or absence of hope. And that's just how I felt. And, I continued this drive, continued, riding around, turning here. And as I was, about to put in an address and, preparing to leave the area, I was praying as I was driving, praying for the people and everything. And I looked up on the side of a building. First, I saw a mural, and the mural said, "There is nothing left but death." And I thought, wow. And it seemed to mirror the sentiment of the atmosphere and the environment. And I was like, I just kind of chuckled to myself, and I said, no, I think I'll take life for 1,000, Alex. And I felt like, God, there has to be more than this. It has to be. I felt so horrible. I'm telling you, I felt so horrible. And then looking up on the side of a building, it said, "I declare revival in this area." And I'm like, oh yeah, revival is definitely needed. But will it come? Was my question. I don't know how many of you have felt like this, or maybe feeling like this. And it is a heaviness, because we're already dealing with a lot. And I'm dealing with some stuff as usual in my personal life. I am not feeling very good, even physically right now. Today is like one of my fasting days. I usually fast a few days throughout the week, where I'm just trying to take it a little easier, and, reading the word. And, I've been back into my worship music, and, just trying to stay in the flow. But man, I feel so heavy. I feel so burdened. And, yes, I cried some, and I've been weeping, ladies, you know how it is. I've been weeping. I've been, sitting on the side of my bed after midnight, 1:00 in the morning, and I'm just talking to God, and I'm just asking him questions. And I wish I could say that I've gotten a lot of answers. I haven't. Not yet. I've been looking at the word, I read a few chapters in Psalms this morning, and usually my son and I will read the proverb of the day. But then I flipped over to Hebrews 11, and I was just reading the first 3 verses, and, just kind of meditating on them.